Europe's AI rulebook changed today, but the headline is not simply more regulation. Some deadlines have moved back, rules for AI-generated content arrive sooner, and a new ban targets sexual deepfakes. If you build, buy, or use AI in Europe, these are the 5 changes worth knowing. This is a focused Monday edition because the verified news window is unusually quiet. Rather than recycle older announcements, we're going deep on the European Union's AI Omnibus, which entered into force on July 27th. First, the basic context. The EU AI Act created one legal framework for artificial intelligence across the bloc. It sorts systems by risk. Many everyday tools face transparency duties, while systems used in sensitive areas such as employment, education, essential services, policing, and safety-critical products can face much stricter requirements. The Omnibus does not erase that framework. It changes the timetable and tries to reduce overlaps between the AI Act and other European product laws. The European Commission describes the goal as administrative simplification. The Council says the changes are intended to provide greater legal certainty while keeping safeguards in place. The first major change is the high-risk timetable. Rules for standalone high-risk AI systems are now scheduled to apply from December 2, 2027. For high-risk AI embedded inside regulated products, the date moves to August 2, 2028. That distinction matters. A standalone system might help rank job applicants or make decisions in a sensitive service. An embedded system could be AI operating inside machinery, a medical device, or another regulated product. These categories are simplified examples. The legal classification depends on the actual purpose and deployment. Why it matters? Companies get more implementation time, but this is not permission to stop preparing. Teams still need inventories, risk classification, documentation, testing, human oversight, and vendor contracts. The practical change is that compliance work can be sequenced against clearer dates instead of an immediate deadline. The second change concerns AI regulatory sandboxes. These are supervised environments where companies can test systems with regulators before wider deployment. The deadline for national authorities to establish them has moved to August 2, 2027. Why it matters? Startups and public sector teams may have to wait longer for a formal testing route in some countries. But sandboxes can still be valuable because they let developers surface compliance problems before a product reaches customers. Availability will depend on each national authority. The third change moves in the opposite direction. Providers have less grace time to implement transparency solutions for artificially generated content. The Council says the grace period is reduced from 6 months to 3, setting a new deadline of December 2, 2026. In practice, transparency can include disclosures or technical measures that help people understand when content is generated or manipulated by AI. The exact duty depends on the system and use case, so a visible label is not automatically the complete answer. Why it matters? Product teams working on image, audio, and video generation should treat provenance and disclosure as core features, not something added at launch. Publishers and enterprise buyers should also ask vendors what metadata, labeling, and audit information survives when content moves between platforms. The fourth change is a new prohibition. The regulation bans AI practices involving non-consensual sexual and intimate content, including systems that generate nude images of real people or digitally remove clothing to reveal intimate areas. It also addresses AI-generated child sexual abuse material. According to the Council, the ban on these practices is set to apply from December this year. Why it matters? This is not a vague ethics statement. It creates a clear legal boundary for developers, app stores, hosting providers, moderation teams, and anyone deploying image editing tools in Europe. Platforms should review model capabilities, abuse reporting, age safeguards, and enforcement workflows before that date. The fifth change is about overlapping rules. AI can sit inside products already governed by sector-specific legislation, including medical devices, toys, lifts, and watercraft. The Omnibus creates a mechanism to limit duplicated AI Act requirements when sector law already covers similar AI-specific obligations. It also clarifies the AI office's role in supervising systems based on general-purpose AI models. Why it matters. For businesses, duplicated audits and conflicting paperwork can slow deployment without necessarily improving safety. A clearer division of responsibility may reduce that burden. But the details will depend on future guidance and implementing decisions, so regulated companies should not assume an automatic exemption. What should an ordinary viewer care about? If you use consumer AI, the most visible effect should be stronger disclosure around synthetic media and a harder legal line against abusive deepfakes. If you work in software or procurement, the immediate task is to map which systems could be high risk, identify who provides each model, and record where generated media enters your workflow. There are also limits to today's announcement. Entry into force does not mean every provision applies immediately. Different duties begin on different dates. This video is a plain English news summary, not legal advice, and organizations should check the final regulation and official guidance for their specific use case. The larger takeaway is that Europe is adjusting its AI rules rather than abandoning them. High-risk compliance gets more time. Synthetic content transparency gets a nearer deadline. Harmful intimate deepfakes receive an explicit ban. The direction is a mix of simplification and targeted enforcement, and the next test will be whether national regulators can make those rules consistent in practice. Do the delayed high-risk deadlines make the EU approach more practical, or do they postpone protections for too long? Let me know in the comments, and subscribe for your daily AI update.